God. Oh, that's all I can muster. Do me a favour and watch this video. Not for me, for the RNLI. Because basically these Marina tour videos, what I'm going to do is any proceeds that come from them, at the end of every month I'm going to donate that amount to the RNLI station that is local to this marina. So, have a watch, keep watching, and those few minutes you have to spend looking at adverts and listening to this stupid fool are going to make money to help our amazing volunteers that save lives at sea all the time. Yeah, let's get into the tour. Radio, now that that's out of the way, as you guys know, or you should know, or you might know, or you're about to know, I'm going around the UK visiting all of Boatfolk's marinas. So they have this thing called the cruising pass, which means that any berth holder can go and visit any other one of their marinas for 30 days each. That was difficult to say. So you get to spend 30 days at all the marinas around the UK, which is precisely what this guy is doing. And as part of that, I said, hey, look, I'll do a little video tour of the marina, I'll do a little talk about it, blah, 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 and stuff like that. So that's what these videos are. The first marina that I got to is this one. Well, it's not this one, I'm actually in Bangor, Northern Ireland. Is the one that you're looking at, which is Penarth. So the structure of this video is going to be, I'll talk about the navigation, how to get there, where it is for a start, and then go on to a bit of a video tour of the place, show you some different things, and then talk about the history of the area and stuff like that, and then I'll give you a little bit of a rambly-bambly at the end for my opinion. Not that that is worth much, but hey, you can have it anyway. Right. I'm not good at like this exposition doing, like, I typed up a little bullet pointy thing and a scripty doodad and all this lot, and I'm like, I've read it back and I just sound like a droning fool, but stick with it, it's for the RNLI. Plus, Penarth is bloody awesome. So yeah, thank you Boatfolk, let's get going. First of all, let's talk about where Penarth actually is, because that'll be quite useful. Penarth is up the Bristol Channel in the Cardiff Bay, which is now actually a freshwater lake which has been created by the Cardiff Barrage. More on the history of that will follow. Owing to the marina being up the Bristol Channel, it's pretty important to get your tide times right, because you don't want to be fighting 5 or 7 knots of tide in the Bristol Channel if you get it wrong. The Bristol Channel itself is a place steeped in maritime history. Lots of very famous things happened there up in Bristol and beyond, and also in Penarth, which we'll get to a bit later on. In terms of navigation, in order to get into the marina you must first get through the Cardiff Barrage, which is a set of 3 locks. The barrage itself creates this freshwater lake. There is a marker on the approach to the barrage called the Outer Rack, I believe it's pronounced. And if you have a look on the barrage website, there's actually some excellent information on there on how to navigate into the barrage and stuff, but I'll just go over it briefly. When you approach the Outer Rack marker, if you call up the barrage on VHF channel 18, they'll tell you which lock is currently in operation and at what time you can enter. As you proceed up the dredged channel, you will see a further buoyed channel that shoots off to port. You'll turn to port inside of that channel and enter the inner barrage area. So when I went in there, it was actually a good little area that for me to, because I was quite early for the locks, it was a good little area for me to sit. There's very little wind in there, and you can just sort of hold position and spin around in circles and faff around until you can get into the lock. There are 3 locks. I think each time I've gone through lock 2, so maybe they use that more often, but they'll tell you that. And the guys in the barrage are super helpful as well. I actually called them up before I got there because I didn't know what to expect, and just said, look, I'm coming in on my own, I don't know what to expect, can you give me some further information that isn't on your website? Do I need long lines? I mean, I don't know. So they explained everything to me. They said, just let us know you're coming in on your own, and we can always open up a separate lock for you if it's busy and stuff like that. Super nice people. Once the lock is opened and you're cleared to proceed, You move into the lock, and there are actually floating pontoons on either side, so you can make up port or starboard side too, whichever is convenient, or wherever there is space. And because they're floating pontoons, just your regular lines will do. Your regular, what are those floaty inflatable things called? Fenders. Your regular fenders will do as well. So you get yourself in, get tied off, make sure you turn your engine off so you don't choke everybody with the fumes, and then you just sit and wait for the lock to fill. Pretty simple. Once the lock's full, the gates will open, you move out, and you turn immediately to port, and that is where you will see the marina. When you get to the marina, or when you've turned to port and you've exited the barrage, if you call up the marina on the VHF, they will open their lock gates so that you can enter the marina and go find your berth. What I tend to do is call the marina well in advance, let them know that I'm coming, get a berth assigned. Once I know the berth number, I go on to the Boatfolk website where you can download a marina plan, have a look where it is, figure out where the wind is, and you're sort of mentally prepared for where you're going and what it's going to look like before you ever step foot there, which is super handy. And then it's a PDF file, so I usually just have it up on my phone to reference back as I'm coming in to make sure I'm going to the right place. After that, like I say, you find your berth, drive in like an absolute hero, throw one line on, throw a few more lines on, knock the engine off, run your comb through your hair and go to the pub. Okay, so on the right here is the barrage, and then we'll pan around to the left, and that there is the entrance to the marina. So that's what you're looking for once you come through that barrage. Walking down, the marina office is on the left there, and I was pretty lucky in that as I was walking down, the lock was open and a lifeboat was coming out. This is the Barry Dock lifeboat. I believe it was in there for a few repairs or something like that. There's the office window up there. That's where they control the lock from. Pretty cool. Gotta love a lifeboat. And then after that, on the way in, was another little yacht. So if you go visit, this is what you'll be doing. You can see the people waiting to cross there. So over the top of the locks, when they're closed, it creates a little walkway, which is what I'm going to walk over in a minute. So this is what I mean about security. The locks aren't actually holding a difference in the height of the water or anything like that. They're literally just there for security now. Bada bing, bada boom. So here we go, crossing the old walkway. So this that you can see over my shoulder, which is naturally the camera's just turned away from because I'm really good at this YouTube stuff. This is the first section of the marina. So the marina is very much in two halves almost, with a connecting section in the middle. This here is the first half, and the first section that you'll come into as you come through the lock. Now it's so well protected. If you look, the height of the water currently is actually lower than the original height that the water would have gotten to, which means that you're lower than the surrounding area, which offers excellent protection in the wind. This is just heading further down. This now is the connecting section between the two parts of the marina. I think it might be called Town Quay. I might be making that up. I'm probably making it up. That's actually where the lifeboat was while they were doing bits and pieces to it. If you notice the hill in the background as well, off to the left, when they built the docks, the reason they built it here is because they've got that huge hill to protect everything from the prevailing winds, which is southwesterly. So the marina's rock solid, honestly. One day I came in and it was like forecast 20 knots or something like that, and it was like a mill pond in the marina. Et voila! Here is the bottom basin, as I'm now calling it. I don't know what it's called. So this area has the boat lift, which I'll show you in a bit. It has the deck, which is a restaurant. And it has these little pods, floating pod things, which I think are on Airbnb or Booking.com, where you can go and stay. I'll show you all those in a little while. But this is where my boat was, down this end, right in front of the deck, and the toilets and the showers and everything, which is fantastic. Incidentally, the office up at the top as well, where you first come in near the lock, that also has toilets and showers. So no matter which part of the marina you're in, you've got facilities there. The houses to the right of the screen that go across the end of the marina, the docks actually used to continue over there. When I talk about the history of the place in a little bit, the bit behind that, the council actually started filling in as a rubbish tip, but we'll get into all that. Pretty swish, isn't it? Gorgeous day as well for it. So here is the boat hoist and the little boat yard. I think it's a 40-ton hoist. I stand to be corrected. And here are some toilets. I felt very strange about filming in some toilets, which is why my face looks like, well, that, really. And then this is above that is a little TV room and a little gathering place that looks out over the marina. There is a TV, yes, there's a TV there. Also the showers and stuff are up here as well. There's a laundry downstairs as well as the toilets, and the showers are up here. Nice big map. Showers. And look, some stairs for some reason that I've filmed. I don't know. So Penarth Docks was actually opened in 1865 as competition for Cardiff Docks, which are just across the way, and that was for exporting coal. So in the heyday, 9 million tons of coal was coming out of the Cardiff Bay area. The whole area was tidal at that time, so the locks were the only place that kept the water in for loading the ships and such. All the railways from the valleys used to bring the coal down, deposit on the ships, and get shipped out to everywhere and everywhere. In fact, a little tidbit is that in 1886, Isambard Kingdom Brunel's SS Great Britain departed for Panama from Penarth Docks, which turned out to be its final voyage. It was redirected to the Falklands, where it ended up being used for storage until 1936, I think it was. After its heyday, the docks all went into decline in the area, and they finally closed Penarth docks in 1936 for the export of coal. However, it was requisitioned during World War II in 1943 for use by the US Navy. But even that couldn't keep it going forever, so in 1963 it finally closed for good. And in the 1980s, the council actually started draining the docks, which were much larger than they are now. They actually extended further back and filling it in with rubbish. They were using it as a tip, basically. However, an entrepreneurial businessman bought the remaining half of the docks and turned it into a marina. So the old Penarth Marina opened in 1987, at which point Cardiff Bay was still tidal and had 14 or so metre tides. So Penarth Marina was actually the only place in Cardiff Bay where you could keep a boat and it would stay afloat. Other places had drying moorings and such because the entire area was just big mud flats. The Cardiff Bay area on the other side was all just sort of scrap yards and low value industrial land. So that's why they started looking at building a barrage in the late 80s and early 90s. So when they built the Cardiff Barrage, which is the locks that you saw me entering to get into the marina, what they effectively did was create a huge freshwater lake behind them that the rivers drained into, and then they could control the outflow of water, which turned the entire mud flats into a big freshwater lake, basically. So the industrial units and things and the low value land was then actually a lakeside area. The property values went up and it was subject to massive regeneration. Around Mermaid Quay and Alexandria Docks and those sort of areas nowadays. So strangely, Penarth Marina ecology actually changed from a seawater marina to a freshwater marina, and it is now a coastal marina inside of a freshwater lake. But now it has 24-hour access. You don't need to worry about the tides anymore. So the lock gates on the marina are actually nowadays only used for security. The only people who get in or out of the marina are the people who they want in or out of the marina. The other side to this is then that Penarth Marina lost its uniqueness as the only place where you could keep your boat afloat in the Cardiff Bay area, because now the sailing clubs and everywhere else, the boats were afloat. But they didn't just give up under the leadership of people like Stuart, the manager, who's super passionate about the marina and the surrounding area. They just decided, well, we'll make it the best bloody marina in Cardiff Bay then, and that's how you keep up with the competition, by making things better. So Penarth Marina is a 5 gold anchor marina with the European blue flag. And they're keen on training the staff to really high professional standards, and the staff are amazing, honestly. So friendly, such nice people. It's absolutely fantastic staying there. But what this also did is change the boating habits for the people in the marina, because what it meant now is that you can sail pretty much any day, any time of day, inside of the Cardiff Bay in pretty much all weathers. Because you're not limited by the tides, and if the tide is in, then you can go out of the barrage and sail into the Bristol Channel. So it gives you more options of using your boat, and one of those is to actually sail over to Mermaid Quay, where there is pay and display moorings. So you can just sort of rock up like you do in a car, tie your boat up, pay and display, shove a ticket on your boat or whatever, and then go out to Cardiff. And the Mermaid Quay area is absolutely fantastic. There's a BBC Studios in that sort of area. Doctor Who, a lot of it was filmed there. You have the National Assembly, the Penarth. There's a huge concert hall. They had Taylor Swift on while I was there. I didn't go watching her. They had Les Mis, the Phantom of the Opera, all these sort of places. There's wonderful nightlife there as well. I went over there and got too drunk really for an afternoon, but this stuff happens. Great bars, great food. It's just a really fantastic area to visit, and a lot of people do that. In that, They either have a boat in Penarth already or visit Penarth and then use that as a base, because it's a real nice little village feel in Penarth. And use it as a base to go over to Cardiff and visit all the big places and all the big town, the big city feel and all the rest of it, and then go back to a nice little quiet village marina, which is amazing. And now for what it's worth, my opinion. I was a little bit hesitant. You know, you do this deal where you've got to go around and do videos places, so I was worried that I'd get there, and like, I've always had positive experiences with Boatfolk so far, and I was worried that I was going to get there and maybe that's just a thing that was local to where I was, and they were really nice down there, but they weren't elsewhere. So I'm like, oh. But actually, they were fantastic. I could quite easily live in Penarth. It's such a great community feeling down there. It's quite a big sprawling marina, as you saw. There's the two sections to it, but like I say, you do have facilities at both of them. And another thing, it seems to be a trait with Boatfolk so far. I mean, as I'm recording this, I've actually been to a further 3 other Boatfolk marinas, and it is a theme running through them all that the staff are just fantastic. So helpful and professional, and just they seem to employ just nice people. Yeah, so community feel. I was very lucky to meet quite a few people down there, not least of all Bob and Jan. Stand by. Oh, where's it gone? Oh. Bob made me a cover for my forward hatch and posted it to me. Yeah, fantastic. And very nicely made me a steak dinner as well, which was much needed. It's just a great community. Talking to the manager, Stuart, I went up for a few-minute chat. Ended up sat there for like an hour and a half, nattering away with him, which was fantastic. So passionate about the area and the marina and stuff like that. They're also very, very proud of their swans that are down there. You saw them briefly. Here they are again. They have a nesting set of swans there, which is sort of like unofficial marina mascots. The surrounding area, I alluded to it in the previous part of the video, but just being able to nip over to Cardiff in your own boat, pay a few quid for a few hours, get some lunch, do whatever, go see a show, jump on the boat, back to your berth. Unbelievable. I don't think you get that really many other places where you can do a sort of pay and display type thing. Obviously they have the deck there, which I spoke about, which means that you can just get a breakfast and a meal. It's open in the morning for breakfast and stuff, and they have really, really nice coffee. Really nice coffee. But there's also a cheaper place just up the road, and then you can walk up the hill into Penarth itself, which has got everything. One thing that I did find quite weird is that there's like loads of grass and weed in the water, and they actually go around with a little boat and clear it all up all the time, and that's a product of it going from a seawater to a freshwater marina. So yeah, they have a little boat and they go around and they clear all the weed every day and stuff like that. That's pretty cool to watch. The only limiting factor to your sailing around there, I suppose, is the Bristol Channel, which is, as you know, probably quite notorious. But that's one of the great benefits, I think, of Penarth itself, is that if you just want to go sailing, you've gone for the weekend and you want to do a bit of sailing, you can just go out into Cardiff Bay and do some sailing over there. You don't necessarily need to go out of the barrage, although you can go out of the barrage, and it's quite good that you can sort of nip up in a few hours on the tide to Portishead, which is a completely different vibe altogether. You'll see more about that in the next video. But yeah, it's a very different place, Portishead. I'd like to say that Penarth is sort of almost a little community village feel. It's nice and quiet. It's super well protected, as opposed to Portishead, which is a bit more hustle and bustle. But the great thing about Penarth is that if you want the hustle and bustle, just go over to Cardiff for the night, and then you can come back and get nice peace. the little pods that I spoke about. If you want to go and have a little try out of Penarth and have a look around, you can go on booking.com, and I think they're under the deck, which is still part of Boatfolk, so you can still expect the same standards. And you can book that out for a night or two and spend the night there. Even if you wanted to do that, if you didn't have a boat there, you could do that and get the water taxi over to Cardiff to see a show or whatever, or the bus or the train or whatever. They're cool little things. In fact, what's his name? Neil Warnock was staying there when I was there. Really nice chap. I had a little natter with him on one occasion. They also have an outside bar at the deck on the lower level where they do all sorts of little outdoorsy stuff and things. They also do a sort of berth holders saily party thing, which they did while I was there, where they all sail up to Portishead for the weekend. Excuse me, put on a barbecue and all the rest of it, all free. You know, it's a running theme in that they're always trying to give you more than just somewhere to store your boat, I think is the best way of putting it. Yeah. Are there any downsides to the Marina? You're in the Bristol Channel, like I said. That could be a downside, but is it really? When you've got Cardiff Bay there, I don't think. No, I can't see any negatives about it. I actually love the place. I went there twice. It was very difficult to leave. They have a little chandlery on site as well, and they have boat care, obviously, where you can get your boat hauled out and fixed and all that lot. If you are thinking of going there, tell them that the Bumbling Sailor sent you. You'll get at least a 0% discount, and most likely a 0% discount. I think that about concludes it. I just want to say a huge thank you to Boatfolk for letting me do this. It's been fantastic so far, and basically if they hadn't have done, I'd practically be homeless now, so I've got a lot to thank them for. Let's look forward to the next tour, shall we? Which will be Portishead. Peace out.